Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Nira Sarlak, and today I have two amazing friends, Dr. Terence Cooper and Mark Axelson, in this masterclass with us. We are going to talk about all things detox with Ionic Foot baths. So what we are going to cover in this webinar is going to be first, do foot baths really work? In my opinion, it does. So we'll find out the health benefits of an ionic foot bath and how to basically open up the detox pathways when we are using the ionic foot bath, the toxins that the foot bath targets, and what is the difference between an ionic foot bath and infrared sauna, because I know so many of my audience, they already use infrared sauna, how we can combine these two detox modalities together, and basically how the foot bath can help with different health issues, with weight loss, with improving our skin, with having more energy, reducing pain and inflammation, and also supporting the brain function. And another question, which is really important that we're going to cover, is about the color of the water and what does it mean. So I would like to open up the floor first to Mark. Please, Mark, introduce yourself. Welcome to our webinar.
Thank you, Dr. Nira. Thank you, Dr. Cooper, and all of our listeners and viewers. Yes, my company manufactures the ION-D Ionic Detox Foot Bath Systems. These are actually the most powerful ionic detox systems in the industry, or in other words, they send more ions into the body than any others out there. I'm going to go ahead and share a little slide of that right now, and you will see what our machines look like. There's the ION-D, that black box. It's just a powerful ion generator, and then attached to that is the ionizing array that goes in the tub with the feet, and we commonly send those out with our machines along with those tubs and plastic liners. Himalayan salt acts as a catalyst to the chemical reaction going on. And we have a cleaning solution for maintaining the array in good condition. I've always been interested, Dr. Nira, in the human body's incredible ability to heal itself under the proper conditions. When most people think of staying healthy, they think about what? Diet and exercise. But that, it turns out, isn't everything. Because you can put good things into the body and exercise, but if you don't take the bad things that have accumulated in the body over the years through the air we breathe, the water we drink, or the food we eat, if we have that toxic load burdening us, then the things we put in the body, the nutrition and the exercise, can't do its job of keeping us healthy. So that's why I got involved with making machines like this to help people reduce their toxic load and feel healthier.
Absolutely. I can't agree more. Beautifully said. So Dr. Cooper, can you please also introduce yourself and just tell us how did you get involved using the Ionic Detox Foot Bath? I know you have your own amazing health history, the personal one, and what basically makes this system stand out from a clinical perspective compared to other machines in the market.
Thank you, Dr. Nira. I'm Dr. Cooper. I've been in chiropractic as a chiropractic physician for 42 years. I've had very busy practices, and I wanted to add another adjunct to healing, and I use exercise, other things, but then I heard of Mark's ION-D detox machine, and so I started using that, and it just snowballed. I mean, I've treated everything from brown recluse spider bites to Lyme disease, and so therefore, what Mark has asked me to do to be his consulting physician, so I've been able to work with Dr. Nira, and I want to let you know that I've had over 300 detoxes myself, going on the age of 84, and my health is fantastic, and I owe it to detoxing. And I'll be working very closely with Dr. Nira, so if any of you have certain questions, she can ask me, but I know that with her background, she'll be able to help anyone. And I hope everybody sticks around, listen to it, because at the end, I got some fantastic pictures. You want to see what comes out of the human body from taking drugs or Lyme disease or cancer? I will show you. So please stick around and watch it till the end. I think you'll be very surprised and pleased.
Thank you so much, Dr. Cooper. So Mark, can you please just tell us a little bit about your company, how long has been in business, and where you actually manufacture the IND machine?
Sure, yeah. We've actually been doing this since 2007. We're located in Cedar City, Utah, USA, and most of our customers indeed are from the USA and Canada. Actually, 2/3 of our customers are just consumers, but the other 1/3 are actually different types of health practitioners and businesses. We have a lot of natural medicine doctors, chiropractic physicians, massage therapists, spas, salons, and even lately we've had a lot of franchises involved with things like IV therapy and light therapy that have been using our machines.
That's amazing. So, Dr. Cooper, I also would like to ask you again from clinical perspective, how basically an ionic detox machine works.
Well, first of all, let's go back to in 2003, two medical doctors, American, won the Nobel Peace Prize. They were chemists. And what they found out was that the cells were clumping in the human body, and it was not allowing toxins to get out and nutrients to get in to heal. And they found out that a negative ion, when going into the cells, would open it up where toxins could get out, nutrients get in. Now, as you put your feet in this tub of water, there's no way water can get through your skin. And what the IND does with the array is it takes one of the hydrogen off. You got H2O, and the other's an OH, which is called a hydroxyl ion, and it puts a negative charge on that other ion, the hydrogen ion. Now it's small enough to go through the hands or feet. Now, all toxins in your body have a positive charge. And this is a negative charge, so when it goes up into the body, it attaches to the positive toxins and pulls them back down either through the hands or the feet. And as we go along, we're going to talk about other amazing things that you can do to detox the body. So what we're doing is over a period of time, people had impacted cells due to toxins, and you could be smelling gasoline or different things, but over a lifetime, we have a lot of problems there. And we'll talk about, as we go along, we'll talk about things that I've done, what people can do to help their bodies so they can feel better. And there's got a reason why you don't feel good. And also, a lot of people say, I feel wonderful, but when we did a detox, they say, oh my goodness, I feel so much better. So that we'll be covering that. I'm looking forward to your questions.
Absolutely. I can attest to that, Dr. Cooper. Like, I definitely have more energy than when I was in my 20s and 30s. So yeah, and I think the most important thing that I've done so far in my life has been just doing this detoxification. So yeah. So Mark, do you have any comments about, how the ionic foot baths basically facilitate detoxification in the body? And you want to say anything, or we can just go to
first
the next
I'd like
question?
to say how easy it is to use it.
Absolutely.
You're pretty much you just have your feet in a tub of warm water, and the IonD machine controls this ionizing array. Okay, and this is in the water together with your feet, and you mostly just have to flip a switch. And for 30 minutes, you kind of relax or read or watch something while the machine performs electrolysis of water, or in other words, the splitting up of water into all of its different possible pieces and components. Basically, Dr. Nira, it's about the power of the negative ion. So negative ions are very positive for our bodies. Our listeners and viewers can just think of times when they've felt really refreshed. It was probably they were breathing negative ions from either being near waterfalls or beaches or oceans. We have negative ions in the forests and in the mountains. and after thunderstorms.
Oh, yes. Yeah. The smell after thunderstorm is
Yeah,
amazing. Yes.
just think when you smell that smell after a thunderstorm, just think the great air that you're breathing. That's negative ions entering the body through your lungs. But ionic detox is just another a great way to flood the body with negative ions, but we're doing it through the feet. There is another theory about why ionic detox works so well. One of the less common products of electrolysis of water may be the formation of the hydrogen anion or the hydride ion. It's like a hydrogen with an extra electron. These tiny ions, under the proper conditions, could pass through those 4,000 large pores in our feet and then circulate into the bloodstream and throughout the body. You see, the hydride ion is considered to be one of the strongest antioxidants. It's got a high reduction potential, and due to its small size, it can penetrate easily through cell membranes for sure. So this is the theory that the influx of hydride ions into the cells could trigger the creation of a highly structured water that we call exclusion zone water. It's also known as the fourth phase of water. It's kind of like another type of water that's a gel-like phase that forms next to hydrophilic or water-attracting surfaces like those found in our cells. It's often described by the chemical formula H3O2. Okay, so that's the theory, but here's a few ways that might be affecting. We're trying to figure out why ionic detox works so well, and we think that there's a few reasons this could be going on. One of the things that might be happening is this easy water. This type of water, it excludes solutes and particles, like think of heavy metals, okay, and waste molecules. It could theoretically push toxins into the regular water outside of the easy water, and they can be more easily transported then out of the body if they're separated out. Okay, this partitioning effect might be what's going on. Number two thing that might be going on is structured water. Actually, if you look at the research, it may store radiant energy, especially from infrared light, and convert it into a charge separation. So what you would have is a negative charge inside the exclusion zone water and a positive charge outside it, and that potential energy difference could be part of what is allowing the toxins to be separated out. A third thing is that just having the exclusion zone water around could make it could support just like hydration. See, part of this is about cell hydration and making sure the cells are just functioning better, and they have better membrane integrity with exclusion zone water. And um, lastly, I think just it can reduce the oxidative stress, just like structured water can reduce oxidative damage or improve redox balance. So this would indirectly improve the body's ability to neutralize free radicals or toxins. Okay, those are theories, but what we do know is that once the toxins are finally out of the cells, then the body can more efficiently eliminate them through its normal ways. You see, ionic detox is not doing something to the body that the body's not already doing, but is sort of helping the body to more efficiently do its job that's already doing of detoxifying itself through the normal pathways of urination, defecation, perspiration, and respiration.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can't agree more. Yeah, I think it was beautifully explained. And I've been following up with Dr. Gerard Pollack about this whole studies about, the easy water or, the force phase of the water. And, the research is really solid. So that's what, I think the cellular hydration is another thing which is really important that, we need to focus on. That's a part of the detoxification as well. Great. So Mark, also, can you explain a little bit to us about the power, about the voltage and amperage, why they're important in an ionic detox system? Because I know your machine is like with one of the highest, amperage that, we can have with 5. And what is basically, the transformer? I know you have a built-in transformer in your machine. So I'd like that you explain a little bit to our audience, what is the difference between, the machine that you have compared to the one that people can buy very cheap, Chinese-made ones of Amazon or other websites?
Yeah, Dr. Nira, let's not make it too complicated. The more ions entering the body, the more detox. Let's just say it that way. So, according to something called the Bohr's atomic theory, it takes at least 13.6 volts of energy to free an electron from its ground state. So that means it's important to maintain a voltage above this 13.6 volt minimum to create a level of ionization that allows for saturation to occur. So be careful. So most machines in the industry, they don't put 13.6 volts of output out, even well-known brands. And they also display a fake output voltage. So the machines will just show a voltage that doesn't change. Well, that means that it's not a real display of the voltage. That's how you know if it's fake or not. The Ion D machines have actual voltages in the range of 18 to 20 volts. And the Ion D machines also have an amperage or current that's twice what other machines have. So the amount of ionization occurring can be correlated with volts times amps. And the Ion D has both of those a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I do agree with that. So Dr. Cooper, how about you? Like, can you explain again from clinical perspective, what distinguishes, Ion D machine from other detox devices?
Well, let me just go back, first of all, in talking about the body becoming toxic. This doesn't occur all at once. It occurs over a lifetime. And when those cells become impacted, then all of a sudden the immune system shuts down. All of a sudden people began to have symptoms. I don't know why I don't feel good. And so over a period of time, an individual say they can fast, but if the body can't get rid of those toxins, they need to be pulled out. And then, as Mark was saying, as we pull the toxins out through the Ion D, what occurs is then we help the body help itself. Because, for instance, I got a lot of people say, I use such and such machine to detox my body. It doesn't work. Well, there's no power to it. They're using 3 or 4 volts when you really, as Mark said, you need to have the power to pull the toxins out of the body. And all of these have the built-in transformers, and that makes a big difference. And so what I'm trying to do is to help people realize that they are toxic. And when we pull the toxins out over a period of time, you do feel better. I wanted to mention that what distinguishes our detox machine from any others, your Ion D is the finest in the world. I've tried other ones. They just don't have the power to pull. But not only that, I have been helping people establish their own business. I got people who are doing 40 to 60 detoxes a week. And in the state of Ohio, I've got a lady that goes to the Amish, and they don't have electricity, so she takes her generator with her and does detoxes all through the week, driving to different places. And the people, one thing that they found, they are getting well. I got medical doctors now who are distributors for the company, and they are finding out that detoxing works. And so the thing that I want to do is just help people to realize that they do have a problem, and there is an answer to the solution.
Absolutely. There's always an answer to the solution. Great. So the other things that I really like to cover is just about basically the toxins, the heavy metals and toxins. Where are they commonly stored in the body, and where do they actually come from? Because most of us, we just eat healthy, we do exercises, we do our meditation, we go to the gym. But, the toxic part of that, we ignore basically, the whole detoxification. And, in my practice, actually, I get so many clients that they're coming to me, they say, I do everything, but, I still don't feel good. I still have, don't have enough energy. I don't have really good mental clarity that I used to have. So, and that's the piece that, I think lots of people overlook is the detoxification. So, Mark, and maybe you want to talk a little bit about the
yes,
toxins?
I have some slides on this topic to share with you. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
Absolutely.
So the Environmental Protection Agency in the United States. You can see my screen all right?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
All right. So the EPA actually did a survey of cadavers and tissue from surgeries, and to get proof about what kind of toxins are found in our tissues. Well, in this case, the adipose tissues or the fat tissues, that's actually one of the main places toxins are stored in the body. And what they found was these 5 were the top 5 toxins found in the body. What was scary is that styrene was in 100% of the samples, which means that it's the most commonly detected chemical in human fat tissue. So that comes from reinforced plastics like plastic flooring and wallpaper and doors and windows. Number 2 is xylene. It's a commonly used solvent. It's used in the paint, leather industries, rubber and printing industries, also gasoline and cigarette smoke. Number 3 was chloroform. Where do you suppose chloroform comes from? Well, a big culprit is actually swimming pools. The chlorine in swimming pools is related to chloroform, and you're going to get double the risk if you're in an indoor swimming pool, because you have not only the chlorine and chloroform from the water, but also fumes that are stuck in the building. But also chloroform can be found in the soil near chemical companies or paper mills, sewage plants. Number 4, most common, was benzene. That's used for making styrofoam. It's used for making plastics, resins, and nylon. Also, again, cigarette smoke and gasoline. And number 5, most common, was cresol. It comes from cigarette smoke, vehicle exhaust, and burning wood, trash, disinfectants. If you know anybody that works with the daily cleaning and feeding and maintenance of swine, pigs, or other animals, the cresol is used as a solvent for this. This survey was particularly alarming because it showed these chemicals are bioaccumulating in fat tissue, even among people that aren't exposed due to occupation. So where are they coming from? It's again the air we breathe, the food we eat, and the water we drink.
Wow. Yeah, that's really eye-opening, because these are the things that we normally we don't even hear about these things. Like that was great explanation, Mark.
Well, if I might, I had a patient, and this lady had worked for 20 years in the oil industry in Roosevelt, Utah. And she worked around the machine. She helped cleaning machine, but she did 20 years. I started out a detox on her, and I hardly got nothing. And usually I get heavy detoxes from people, and it took me my 4th detox before I could start pulling things out of her, and it was black, just like oil, and thick. And she said, Dr. Cooper, is this going to work? And I said, it's got to work. And after that, I detoxed her on a regular basis. And all of a sudden, her vision was better, her hearing, she felt alive. She said, I haven't felt this good in years. So unbeknownst to a lot of us, a lot of us drink the water out of the plastic bottles. If they leave that, especially in their vehicles, that's terrible for the body. And the United States say that we have over 20,000 different chemicals that we're exposed to on a constant basis. Well, when we breathe this, believe it or not, when you ladies go ahead and clean your stoves, you with those sprays, you breathe that, all that goes into toxins into the cells and then accumulates over the years. And we began to have different symptoms, wondering why we don't feel good. But when we detox the body, all of a sudden we began to feel better.
Absolutely. So, Dr. Cooper, what do you think are the symptoms that someone might experience due to toxic overload in your clinical practice over the years? What have you noticed? Like
the symptoms that they would have?
Yes, yeah, the symptoms of toxicity or toxic overload.
Okay, I'd have to say literally thousands, because being the consulting physician for Mark's company, I literally talked to hundreds, and in my practice I did over 1,800 detoxes with different patients. But some of the biggest things depends upon the area. Like for instance, back in Minnesota, they'll have the ticks, Lyme disease,
yes.
Or for instance, here's a good one. Another lady, she had massive headaches. They had MRI, CT scans, couldn't find anything wrong with her, and they suggested even that she may need psychiatric care. But she did one detox with Ion D, and the headaches were immediately gone. And then, like she said, what happened? And I said, I don't know, but the body pulled out something. But for your listening audience, let me make the statement: Ion or detoxing cures absolutely nothing. It cures nothing. But what happens, it takes the toxins out of the body, and then the body heals itself. We're finding out Mark has a lot of information for autism for children that I've worked with, and they respond tremendously. I don't know what anybody feels, but I feel the shots these children have had early in their lives have affected them. My granddaughter is 32 years old, and she was 3 years old. She had her shots. She went to a 7-year-old child, never got past the age of 7 ability to speak. She had to walk all over again, but that was actually received her shots. And at that time, I never did have detoxing. But I've had other people who've used detoxing for their children, and they with great success. But the time's going to come, doctor, where they're going to contact you and they're going to say, I've got this symptom, that symptom. They're going to ask you, and you're going to be able to know what to tell them. Because another thing, everybody wants to be cured right away. But if you've had an accumulation of toxins over the years, it does take time. I put a lot of people on different types of protocols. For instance, if an individual is acute, at the beginning of an acute case, the individual said, Dr. Cooper, my legs are all swollen, almost up to the knees. They show me pictures of them. And so what did I do? I had them detox daily. And then I, for at least 5 days a week, 2 days off to let the body balance. Then I'll do it for another week. Then I'll take them to 3 times a week. But sometimes I will even have them go daily. Depends on how severe their symptoms are. But I have never had a case where the individual had a reaction from detoxing. The body needs it. So no one needs to fear that it's going to hurt them. And of all the hundreds and hundreds of cases I've worked with, not one has had a problem. Now, let me tell you, I had one gentleman call me, and he said, Dr. Cooper, he said, I'm really sick. He said, I've been doing your detoxing, and I'm really sick. And I said, all right, tell me what you've been doing. He said, well, I detoxed at 8, then I detoxed at 12, and then on my sauna, I did that at 4. And just over detoxed the system. So I had him take 4 days off, call me back, and he felt wonderful. And when the COVID-19 was going, I had a gentleman call me from Ohio, and he said, Dr. Cooper, I've got COVID and I'm dying. And I just got my machine. What do I do? And he said, I want you to detox daily, Monday through Monday, and I'll call you in 2 weeks. I called him in 2 weeks. How's he feeling? He laughed. He said, Doc, I am feeling so good. I don't have a symptom. I feel even better even before I detox, but I get that all the time. There is wonderful happenings when you detox the body, give the body a chance to heal, and you can get some wonderful results.
That's
I
fantastic.
also have some slides for our viewers on this topic because I think our viewers might consider some of the symptoms that they're experiencing and compare that to what the science shows are found in toxic bodies. So I'm going to go ahead and do another screen share here. All right. Here's what lead causes: neurological damage, hypertension, kidney damage, and cognitive issues, anemia, diseases caused by mercury. There you go. Neurodevelopmental disorders, memory loss, and kidney damage. Cadmium, kidney, bone issues, lung cancer. How about endocrine disrupting chemicals? Yeah, infertility, thyroid dysfunction, early puberty, obesity, type 2 diabetes, also leukemia, bone marrow. That's issues. We could have, how about formaldehyde? Okay, there's leukemia, cancer. Also, diseases caused by polyfluoroalkyl substances, thyroid, kidney issues, liver. So you got your organs there. Immune suppression, high cholesterol. How about pesticides? Are we exposed to pesticides? A lot of people have Parkinson's, certain cancers, neurodevelopmental issues, and respiratory problems. Mold. Sometimes we're exposed to mold. That actually leads to liver cancer, immunosuppression, neurological symptoms. So, did you know? Did our viewers know that 95% of cancer is actually caused by diet and not and environmental toxicity, not necessarily by genetics? Okay, so true. And cancer is, you can actually look at toxins and correlate that to cancer. So neurodegenerative diseases, autoimmune issues, respiratory issues, birth defects. We need to think about toxins also, not just the standard of practice. I'll cover this slide next.
Okay, that's
Okay. Might I add something? First of all, Dr. Nira, I sent you information on research that was done, correct?
yes.
And believe it or not, for those listening, they've taken it off the internet. You cannot find it, but I have all the research that has been done that I'd love to have them pass on, because it does take out mercury, does take out lead, and it gives the percentages of certain people who had that in the body, very successfully pulled it out. But I've got one lady that her husband had leukemia, and she had her own machine, and she detoxed him. And I worked with her, and her husband is totally clear of leukemia. All of the blood reports come back. He's doing wonderful. But I want to mention, all cancer patients, all diabetics are highly acidic. And so the more we can alkaline that body, the more the body's going to be able to heal itself. And that's where you get the results. And the more we can alkaline that body, take the toxins away, the symptoms will go away and people will see some great changes.
Absolutely. And about the acidic environment, like we can talk about parasites, right? They absolutely love acidic environments. So, and you know, how
Yes.
many people they have parasitic infection. And I also would like to add, Mark, that, you know, especially when it comes to any source of thyroid dysfunction, and especially about mercury toxicity, because I had this like a personal story of myself, that I had mercury toxicity about 14 years ago from dental amalgam fillings. And it targeted, I mean, the first organ that it targeted for me was my thyroid. And I got diagnosed with Hashimoto. And now, of course, after years of, you know, doing detox and, you know, like changing my diet and lifestyle and, you know, healing emotional trauma, I totally reversed the autoimmunity. But, and that's something that I'm really passionate about, you know, especially the thyroid dysfunction. And every single, especially women, they're coming to my practice, I check for their thyroid and asking about their, the mercury toxicity or any source of amalgam fillings or dental history, because I feel like that mercury has this affinity to really get after our thyroid. And so that's been just, yeah, it's just been wonderful to find out that, we can have these connections and how,
it's so common,
it's so common.
the mercury amalgam fillings and so forth.
Absolutely. So, Sure, go ahead, please, Doc.
I would like to add, I had a cardiac surgeon from Florida call me, and he has said that his daughter's 18 years old going pro tennis, and so her coach wanted her to eat salmon because it would be the best protein she should get. And so lo and behold, she morning, noon, night, and within 3 months, she had boils all over her body, mercury poisoning. And so he called me, what do I do? And so he got the Ion D, your machine, and believe it or not, within 6 weeks, totally cleared up, and he became a distributor.
Oh, wow.
Of selling the machine, because Doc, he said, I cannot believe, he said, I got to be careful who I tell about this.
Exactly.
Other medical doctors don't believe it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And these days, like everybody likes sushis, right? And all of those raw fish and salmon, they're all like, and our oceans are polluted. So we're all getting exposure to this mercury toxicity as well.
That's correct.
Yes. So, Doc, can you please, you shared the story about your daughter in Florida, and, also the other things that, you shared with me before personally. What are the most common changes or improvements that people reported after using the Ionic Foot bath?
Well, one of the things is brain fog. I've had a lot of people say, I can't concentrate. And then all of a sudden, they've had brain fog. Let me mention, this happened. A lady called me and she said, Dr. Cooper, I've got 4th stage brain cancer and I wanted to get a detox machine. And I said, ma'am, don't mean to be rude to you, but if God's choosing you to go home, if it's your turn, no matter what we do, you're going to go home. She said, I agree. So I'm ready to go home, but it's my massive headaches that I have. And so she bought one of the Ion D and relieved her headaches from tremendous clarity, but then she eventually passed away. So the thing is that what we want to do is to get rid of the symptoms. In her case, the headaches, and then she still passed away. Another thing that I had found, and that is, for instance, I had one lady, she stated she had radiculitis in the right leg. It went down through the sciatica. As she detoxed, she felt a surge of energy follow that sciatic nerve all the way up to her lower back. And after 4 or 5 detoxes, you no longer had the pain. I've had people with swollen knees, and they will go ahead and will detox the feet, and the swelling goes away. But I got a physician, he said, Doc, I got these sores all over the side of my head, on my neck. What do I do? I detox your hands, because the hands are closest to that area. And within about 6 detoxes, he noticed they started going away. I got another lady contact me, and she said, I'm going to my high school reunion, and I got sores on that one arm. What do I do? And I said, detox. And she detoxed, and within 3 days, they were totally gone. So a lot of other things that I've noticed, I've had people, believe it or not, and we can't say it cures the arrhythmia of the heart, bradycardia or tachycardia, but that individual did have results where she said, hey, my heart feels better, the rhythm is back to normal. The doctor asked me what happened, and I told him, and he said, well, that doesn't work. Detoxing doesn't work. And when I got an 80-year-old man come to me, and he said, Dr. Cooper, I need your help. And he said, I have, on my liver, I have a tumor about the size of a silver dollar. And my doctor wants me to do chemotherapy. He said, but he said, all my friends who've had chemotherapy have died. So, but I've got to have this. So can you help me? I said, what do you want me to do? And he said, I'll get chemotherapy once you detox me following day. So I detoxed him. I set him up for 20 visits. On the 18th visit, he came all excited. He said, Doc, it's gone. It's gone. I said, well, he said, Doc, they did an MRI and it's totally gone. I told the medical doctor what he's doing. He said, no, it was a chemotherapy. It wasn't the detox, and that doesn't help. but I've had from a lot of other people, it does work. All we're trying to do is get that garbage out of the body, what is causing the problems, and then the body can heal itself. That's exactly what we're doing.
And Mark, do you
In
have any comments?
2009, yeah, in 2009, we actually asked our customers this question, what are the most common improvements that you've seen? And I will share the results of that survey with you, but
Yeah,
I do have first a disclaimer that the Ion D is not considered to be an official medical device. It's not considered to be approved for treating or curing any medical disease or illness, but instead it's just another tool in our wellness arsenal. So,
absolutely. Yes, yeah.
all right, here we go. So, all right. So in 2009, we did a survey of 126 users, and the most common benefit they reported was pain relief. That includes joint stiffness, headaches, with knee pain and foot pain. They also reported, I hear about this all the time, increased energy. Almost everybody says, I've got more energy. They'll say other stuff that they have been helped with, but they say, oh, and also I have more energy. And also I'm getting better sleep, just all the time. Improved digestion was next. Also decreased swelling, circulatory system improvements. Then we have skin improvements, reduced weight, and a lot more things. It's kind of really incredible the type of things that happen when you start taking toxins out of the body. Many different health issues can be changed. What we are commonly seeing with Ion D is, it helps with the entire body. It's a full body detox, but especially I found out that if the issue is having to do with the leg and foot, it does even better. Somehow the ions are even connecting, they're closer. So there's more ions, I think, entering the feet and the legs, or in the hands if you put the hands in the tub. We also have had a number of clinics that specialize in Lyme disease, getting good results from the ionic detox.
Okay, that's
And
amazing, Mark. Yeah. Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
and let's see, I'll go to the next slide here. So we
Oh, yeah.
actually did a study on 20 boys, basically, age 3 to 21. They were evaluated before and after ionic detox. We used the autism treatment evaluation checklist. This looks at the 4 major areas of autism. There's speech and language, sociability, sensory and cognitive awareness, and the health and physical aspects. It turns out that this is a scientific instrument. It's actually more valid than blood tests for diagnosing autism spectrum disorder. And here's what we kind of found. The median decrease in autism symptoms. Look at health and physical, about 62%, 50% on sensory issues, 40% decrease in symptoms with sociability, and 29% with speech and language. But what's really fun and exciting is to see what the parents are saying. It's not just about numbers, it's about changing the lives of these kids and their families. When we see these comments from the parents, he's doing so much better. His speech has improved. He's woken up. He's not aggressive anymore. This is when it really gets fun for us, and everybody at our company gets excited when we hear these amazing results. But
Hey, Mark. Mark.
Yeah.
Go back to this. Go back to that previous slide.
All right.
I just want to mention to someone. There we go. That's it. Or please notice. You see the 120. People want results right now. I want to be well, but it takes time in order to get these toxins out of the body. And not only that, but Mark, I've noticed that the people have said to me their children they were huggy. Before they would play by themselves. All of a sudden now they wanted to play ball. They wanted to do things with mom and dad that they'd never done before. And that was after they started detoxing. So, but you can see it says 120 days if you're expecting results in a couple of weeks. No, give the body a chance to pull the toxins out of the body, and then you will see improvement. Thank you.
All right, here's a little research summary about. There hasn't been a ton of research out there on ionic detox. Maybe we will do more one of these days, but this is what we got right now. We're seeing the research shows as far as toxin reduction. We've had studies with we've seen with 48%, basically half of the glyphosate or Roundup found in the urine. We see decreased aluminum and arsenic in the blood. And there was another study a few years ago about decrease in myasthenia gravis symptoms. And we've seen that in our own clinic that's attached to our facility as well. Just another study was just about the increase in toxic metals found in the foot tubs, so exiting the body. You can see that these heavy metals were increased by this much, copper and aluminum, by that much that were found in the foot tub. So if they're in the tub now, but they weren't before, that means they came out of the body.
Wow, these numbers are amazing,
Excellent.
Mark. Like, especially something like cadmium, which is literally like 10 times more toxic than mercury. You know, if we can pull this out of the body, I mean, you can imagine how much energy the body gets to just be able to repair, you know, for other cellular function. And, you know, in my practice, I do basically all sorts of testing when it comes to heavy metal detox, like hair test, stool test, and urine test. And I see that people, like, they're really toxic if they had any vaccines, you know, growing up, or like for overseas traveling, if they had exposure to lead. And also another very interesting study that I read, that 17% of all-cause mortality is due to lead exposure. So lead is just unbelievable, that and how long it takes to remove lead from our bones, from our tissues and cells is not overnight. This is like, and I think I've been doing like detox for 14 years and I still have lead in the body. You know, whenever I test, you know, it still is coming out. So as Dr. Cooper said, it takes time. This is not an overnight you know, thing that we just say. We accumulate over the years, and it's going to take years, you know, probably to detox and, you know, get these toxins out of the body. But
it just goes to show everybody needs a detox.
Absolutely.
We can't say we don't need to detox. We do.
No, exactly. And even if we can control our own environment, you know, we just eat right, you know, organic, and have the best supplements, but still the moment we are stepping out of the house, you know, the air we breathe about 11,000 liters of air every year, right? So just with that breathing, you know, the glyphosate, you know, spraying it on the like grasses. We walk on the grass, you know, our pets walk on the grass, you know, they get them. So we get into the pets as well. But yeah, so this is something that detox in this day and age, I feel like is not optional anymore. It is really a necessity as part of our lifestyle. It should be.
Doctor, I would just want to mention the importance of your machine is that it has the power to pull. We tested Chinese machines, 10 watts, maybe up to 13. You've got 20 watts voltage or more going into these detoxes. And if you're going to be pulling toxins out of the body, you've got to have the power to pull these metals out. And that's one thing that your machine has that none others do have. We've checked at the clinic.
Yes, I tried actually a couple of different machines, you know, at different, you know, wellness centers and clinics over the years, but I never felt anything. But, you know, with the IOD, whenever I use it, especially the first, I have so much energy that, you know, I can conquer the world. You know, the energy is really increases. Correct. The mental clarity is amazing. So it's just fantastic. Like this is the machine that I really felt the difference. You know, before I just felt like I just went for a pedicure, you know, like there's no feeling, there's nothing. I didn't feel anything. So Dr. Cooper, I have one other question from you. Basically, does the detox continues after the session? And for how long? Like, I know that even 2 to 3 days after, you know, like still our body continues to detox. So do you have any comment about this?
Yes. And that when your machine has just the amount of electricity is so minute, but it will
Sure.
continue to 36 to 48 hours. And on those, and so the body continues. And what you're doing is the machine, as it pulls the toxins out of the body, then it allows your body to function on its own to continue to pull those toxins out. And that's why if an individual, if I put them on daily, then constantly daily, even if they've done, say, the detox in the morning, then all through that evening until the next day, the body is continuing to detox. And the more that your ion D can pull the toxins out, the more your body is going to be able to, on its own, start detoxing.
Absolutely. And that's also the reason we are not recommending to detox like twice a day to use the device, because it can be too much for the body, right? Because this is a very powerful device.
You will get sick. And,
Yes.
and the thing is, now if you use a Chinese machine, you do it 3 or 4 times a day, no problem. But on this machine, because it's so powerful, you cannot use it.
Exactly. And
Twice a day.
that's what it happens, when we get the detox symptoms or healing crisis, right? The Herxheimer reactions. So what are the symptoms, doc, that, your patients reported, if they've done too much of a detox or this healing crisis?
Okay, good question. I had one lady, and she had stated, Dr. Cooper, your machine is killing me. And I said, what do you mean killing me? And she said, and I had mentioned earlier, but this lady, she said, I felt so good. I did 3 detoxes, and man, all of a sudden now I'm dying. And I had another lady, she would call me on the phone. She said, Dr. Cooper, I'm doing a detox right now. I'm starting to get sick. I said, are you hypoglycemic? She said, yes, I am. I said, all right, get a bite to eat and you'll be fine. But the main thing is just, if people use wisdom, give their body a chance to detox, they're going to get wonderful results. But a lot of people, I want results right now. You will, but give the body a chance to detox, pull the toxins out, then your body will heal itself.
Absolutely, I agree. And especially if somebody is not really ready, if they already have too much toxins in their body, so to go fast, that could overwhelm the body. So I always, tell to my clients that start slow and we slowly build up, to do it like too much. They can have like headaches or be nauseous, or, I've noticed like different symptoms that when I was just doing my, going through my detoxification symptoms, it was like extreme fatigue I had, because I was doing too much. But then, after the body really just got used to it, then I can tolerate more now. But it's always good to start slow and then build up over time.
Well, doctor, you're going to become the guru of understanding detoxing. So what happens, people, they call me and they say, Dr. Cooper, I've lost all my energy. I'm so tired. We've just, even the amount of detoxing there, we pull that out of the body, it's still too much. So what I do instead of, and I've already put them on a schedule of 3 times a week, I said, okay, we want to do this twice a week. And then they called me back, so I'm still, then go once a week. We went once a week for 2 weeks, then we build up to twice, then 3 times a week. But sometimes you have to use a little bit of wisdom and just give the body a chance to get rid of those heavy toxins. And all of a sudden clarity comes in the mind, you feel better, more energy, but give the body a chance to detox. Depends on what you've done all your life.
Exactly. So over detoxing is not going to help. So that's the message here.
No.
So, and Doc, do you recommend any binders alongside the Ionic Foot baths? And if so, which ones you're recommending usually? If somebody especially going through this healing crisis, how to help them with the symptoms?
Well, most people use activated charcoal. That people use that, but however, I've checked on phosphate binders have some complications. If they use a phosphate in abdominal pain, they can have nausea, indigestion, diarrhea, and constipation. And also some phosphate binders can cause an increase of calcium in the body. So I ask them to look around, find out what is best for you. I don't know if they know anything about kinesiology of body testing, but I know that you can take a binder, hold it, and you can tell whether your body likes it or not. A lot of important things you can do to that. But I ask people, just use wisdom, and then you will find out that a lot of people don't need a binder whatsoever. They take when they feel worse. They don't use a binder. All of a sudden, they do much better. Everybody's body is different.
Absolutely. For me personally, it has been very helpful when I was going through the healing crisis because, I feel like the binder is just acting like a catcher's mitt, and especially in the gut. So we do not want to circulate too much. And when I was feeling that it was circulating too much mobilizing the toxins, so I was taking binders and they were very helpful. And I experimented with everything, with activated charcoal, with modified citrus pectin is the one which has been really tolerated by me and also lots of my patients. Zeolite, chlorella, so there's just so many options out there. Like, that's great. That's good to know, like there's all of these options available. So, Dr. Cooper, one more question about, and also Mark can also explain this part about, the belt, which comes basically with the infrared belt coming with the device, and how to use it. And I really like this stacking solution that you guys, Mark put it together, because there's no device in the market who has this, this infrared belt coming with it. Can you, Mark, talk a little bit about it and why did you put this, infrared belt therapy alongside with this? And Dr. Cooper, can you talk also about how to use the castor oil pack basically in combination with the infrared belt?
Yeah, so we already have a power supply. So we thought, well, why not add a second healing modality? The person's already sitting there for 30 minutes getting a treatment. So what else can we do? And we chose infrared because it is it's also a detoxing therapy. Research shows that a deep penetration of heat through infrared has a variety of health benefits. Well, when you combine it with ionic detox, it has these synergistic effects, which I'll let Doc explain.
Hey, Mark, who's our research doctor that was working with 20, and it said that opens up 25% of the kidneys or the livers of blood vessels. What's his name? Dr. He did the research on the fire station.
Oh, that's
okay.
That fire station researcher is Dr. Duncan.
That's what William Duncan. Thank you, Dr. Nira, asking that question because this really works. Let me mention that, and I learned this from Naturopaths, but if you go ahead and take that infrared belt, you can use the castor oil pack. Now, what's a castor oil pack? You can get a nice piece of quality cotton, say 8x8, fold it over. You got a 4x8, moisten it with castor oil, not soupy. Then put it on the right angle of the liver, and then put a piece of Saran wrap over that to keep it from dripping. Then take your infrared belt, put it there, and plug it in. As Mark said, Dr. William Duncan said, it will open up the blood vessels of the liver by 25%. Now, does it work? Let me tell you. I've got a medical or a doctor, or oral surgeon, and he had prostate cancer. And in 2001, he stated that they detected it. They did a prostatectomy, but over a period of time, they felt that they had resolved. But however, last year, he had it came back with a vengeance, and he heard from me, and he called me, and if you know anything about PSA, my PSA is 0.8. His PSA was 32.
Wow.
And which is very high. And so what occurred is I had him, I'd be personal anything, but I had him put the castor oil pack in between his leg for the prostate, put a piece of Saran wrap over that, and then use the infrared belt. In 11 days, his PSA was 7.25.
Wow.
Not only that, but he was now walking when before he couldn't walk. But that's not the only one. I've got other individuals who have low back pain, and they will use a castor oil pack along the back, put the belt over that, and it pulls out the pain out of the body. And I've got another doctor I had, he's a medical doctor, and he had cancer of the tongue. And so you wrap this around the neck, but what he did, castor oil pack on the side of his face, and then he put the belt right now there and held it there and detoxed from that. And the first thing he noticed was that he began to have a lessening of pain in the area of his tongue. So and we're not saying it can cure all things, but I'm just stating one thing it does do for those who use it. They've had excellent results. And I constantly talk to people about this, what they can do for their low backs, for their shoulders, around the kidney areas, and it has done wonderful results. Now, I might want to mention one more thing. I've got a gentleman, I got a professor call me from Mayo Clinic, probably about 6-7 months ago, and he said, Dr. Cooper, I want to thank you very much for your Ion D. He said, it's one of the finest detoxing machines in the world. And I said, whom am I speaking to? He didn't give me his name. And he said, I've researched this over 4 months now, and we know about it, but we don't use it. We won't make any money. And he said, but this can take the place of dialysis. And I said, you're kidding me, doctor. No, I don't believe that. And he said, I'm serious, it does. And okay, what's your name? He said, you want me to lose my job? And so I didn't believe it. And so I had a gentleman by the name of Darling from California contact me. He said, Dr. Cooper, I'm in 4th stage of kidney on dialysis. He said, I got my machine. What do I do? And I said, he said, I've been detoxing once a week. And I said, oh, excuse me, I want you daily for 2 weeks, Monday through Monday. And then I'll tell you 5 days on, 2 days off to give the body a chance to balance. And later on, he called me about 3 months later. He said, Dr. Cooper, my creatine is down. This is down. It really works. But I can't say detoxing cures this or this or that, because my goodness, they hang me by my thumbs up. And but the thing is, I'm just saying, see, we don't realize what happens when we take the toxins out of the body. The body can heal itself. And so we have these things that are available. And Ion D, in my opinion, is the finest machine on the market that I've ever worked. And I've worked with others, but it's the most powerful, and I get fantastic results.
That's great. Thanks for sharing, Dr. Cooper, for this, testimonies. And I also have my personal, feedback about the infrared belts, because sometimes I just don't want to do the foot bath, but I just use it, with the castor oil on the liver area, on the gallbladder area, even on the, under the ovaries. And I actually recommend it to some of my female clients to try it for PMS symptoms when they have cramps, and they've been using it and they had fantastic results just by using that, So there's plenty of research about just the health benefits of infrared therapy. So thank you, Mark, for including this one in this device, because I feel like that people get just basically 2 in 1, like both of the things that are absolutely fantastic when you combine it together. And sometimes when I run the machine, like after 30 minutes is done, I'm done with my foot bath, I still keep it another 1.5 hours, the machine running. And I'm just enjoying the heat, like that I can get it, get more and more toxins out of the body. That's perfect. So Dr. Cooper, can you also tell us a little bit how we can use our hands with the Ionic Detox Foot Bath, especially if somebody has any eczemas or psoriasis or like swollen hands, because you also have a very interesting story to share about that.
Well, and I do. And the thing is that I mentioned earlier when we were talking that where is the problem located? And now, for instance, I got an individual that I've just talked to about 2 days ago, but that individual was having problems up in the neck, shoulder, arm pain, hand pains, tingling sensation, but also top of the knees. So I had them go 1 day feet, next day hands, 1 day feet, next day hands. I had another individual with the problems that he was having, and he was having, he said brain bleeds. And he had an accident where he said there was metal in the brain. And, don't know, but he said, Doc, I got to detox these metals out. So what I had him do 3 to 1. I have him go 3 days hands and then 1 day feet, because I wanted to concentrate mainly on that area, which was the head. Is closer than the feet.
Okay, Mark, you have any comments?
Actually, we had a twin brother and sister. They were in their 40s, and they had hyperhidrosis, or sweaty hands, their whole lives. They used Ionic Detox by putting their hands in, and lo and behold, yep, it's no more problem with hyperhidrosis.
Wow, that's interesting.
Also, if I might, Dr. Nira, I had a 52-year-old gentleman come to me, and he'd been divorced for 20 years, and he said, I developed a smell that came from my body. The medical doctors put me on, developed an infection. He said, but I had a smell, and I had to urinate every half an hour. I couldn't go anyplace because I had to be close to a bathroom. And so I started him out detoxing, and it cured him 100%. And he said, Doc, I can't date a woman. I can't date a nice-looking guy. He said, I'm just too embarrassed. And he said, I would substitute for teachers, and little kids would say, Doctor, teacher, you smell. And so what I did, I put him on a regime of detoxing, and it cured him 100%. Just real. And by the way, then about a month later, he found a beautiful woman and married her.
That's amazing. So these are the power of detoxification. You can attract the love of your life.
That's right.
That's amazing. So, Dr. Cooper, can you also tell us a little bit how we can use the ionic detox for animals, especially for our dogs, because they have a lot of exposures to toxins by being outside, going to, like running on the grass, which is basically sprayed with all sorts of herbicides and glyphosate.
Well, yes. And the thing is that we're going to, the slides that weren't finished here, I'm going to show these slides. I'm going to have some animals. But for instance, I had one German Shepherd, and he was bitten by a rattlesnake. And so the doctor had him antibiotics. This one, he moped around like for 2 weeks. And finally, what we did is we detoxed him, but I found a great big one for feeding horses. It was a grain bin about 20 inches in diameter, 4 inches high. We put the water in there, and we put the array in there. We detoxed him, and the following day, his owner called and said, he's just like a brand new dog again. But I've got other pictures of different people. Now, I'll explain, but I have people now who have their own detoxing business for humans, for people, and then at the other end of the clinic, they do dogs. Wow. And they are busy because people love their animals. And as we go to the last pictures, I will show dogs who's had pancreatitis. They're totally well because they can be detoxed, have toxins in their body just like humans. And the only thing, we couldn't do cats because they just hate water.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They jump out of that. We can't do it.
Exactly. I think we could do the same for the mice. I think that probably the mice, we cannot do them. I think they also don't like water.
That's right.
So just before
when we get to the photo.
Yeah, before we go to the photos, Dr. Cooper, can you also tell a little bit our audience about any contraindication or precautions that the practitioners and doctors who are watching the replay of this webinar, they need to know about? I know about being, the pregnancy and breastfeeding, but can you expand a little bit about contraindication? And then we go to all the amazing, the clinical stories and, the pictures.
Okay, for those, first of all, a lot of people don't realize that, but if a woman is expecting and you do a detox, the toxin going through that fetus. The same thing when if a mother is breastfeeding her child, the children are going to be ingesting that milk. It has toxins in it. But now another thing, if the individual is schizophrenic, now you don't want to do that because a lot of them are on medication maybe 3 times a day, and you can create an episode with that. Now, if an individual has a pacemaker, the pacemakers today are totally different than what they were years ago. They just had the wire that was implanted, but now they're digital. And as I called one medical doctor, cardiologist, and he said, nothing, these are so powerful. The amount of charge that your electricity or your machine puts out won't even affect it at all. So, and also the main thing, if you get into any deep, deep wounds, don't do that. But however, I had one gentleman with a wound on the plantar area of his foot, about the silver dollar, and he had been in the hospital for it. And what happens is it healed from the outside in rather than the inside out. So he in the hospital 3 weeks, and then he got out, and within 3 days it ruptured again. He came to my clinic. We had to put him in the back room, open up the back door. There was a smelling of flesh rotting away. But it took me, I detoxed him 5 days a week for 3 weeks, and then twice a week. It took me 2 months before we totally healed that area up on his body. But again, and by the way, he was at a plywood factory where they had formaldehyde.
Wow.
And the glue. So he was standing in that, and I had him bring his boots in. They were cracked, and so his socks would get wet. So he was absorbed into his body. That's why he had that sore that built up. But we totally cured him of that just through detoxing.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, thank you. I mean, it comes to pregnancy, of course, I always tell to all my clients, we do not want to step on the toes of another human being. So have patience. Let's have the baby, do the nursing, and after that we can do the detox. So, great. So yeah, at this part, I'll really like that, ask Mark to see if you can, have the slides for the pictures ready so we can have some interesting colors and, the clinical stories that both of you guys can share a little bit with our audience. And, I know Dr. Cooper goes through each of them and, explains. So. So, Dr. Cooper, what do we have here?
Being the consulting physician for Mark's company, I talk to all these people. This gentleman right here was on heavy drugs over the years, and his health was poor. As you can see, he's kind of skinny, didn't feel good at all. And so what occurred is that when we detoxed him, this is what came out of him. Now, first of all, do you notice the scum that attaches to his feet and body? If, for instance, I want people to know, if you just put the array in the water without the feet, you're going to get dark colors, and that's due to the chemicals in the water, due to the salt, maybe the ionization, any minerals. But once you put your feet in, the scum is what comes out of your body. That's because a lot of people say brown means this color, orange means. I don't accept that because there's no way to prove it. The only color I know that really works that I can tell you that's coming out of the body, if it's pure white, that's an infection, and I've seen that many, many times. And I'll even have pictures here of it. But this gentleman here has been on drugs. This lady right here, this gentleman right here was from, let's see, this number 2. This gentleman had been in the Gulf War. I think it was saffron gas. He had been totally disabled, and he couldn't walk. He was in a wheelchair, and we started detoxing him. And I detoxed him 3 months straight. And by the time we finished, he was out of his wheelchair, walking. Before he had to have a slide or something that would take him. His chair had set him up on a railing, take him up the stairs. And by the time he finished with this, he was fine. But this is what came out of him.
Wow, this is
terrible.
A rainbow.
Next. Okay, on this individual right here, this is they just had this individual said, "Hey, I'm fine. There's really no problems with me. We did, but this is what came out of him, and look at the difference. And nothing wrong, but look at what came out of him. And you can see it sticks to the side, stick to his ankle. This is what was being pulled out of his body."
And Dr. Cooper, I think that, it could be also very smelly. Like some of my clients, they said that they really had like this really horrible smell after. So it's not only the gooey gum and the fats, but, the smell is also could be very strong.
Yes. And a lot of people who've had heavy metals, they say that there's a smell of, like what was the metals or something, but they said that they noticed that. This lady, very interesting. This lady had been breastfeeding her child, and he was 3 years old, kind of a long time. But she wanted me to do a detox, and I told her no, not until I didn't want that child to be able to be drinking that milk with the residue in it. But she quit, and then about 4 weeks later, she came in. This is what came out of her. I never had the feel. I have no idea what it was, but this is just what was coming out of her body over a long period of time. She's very obese, and so a lot of toxins build up in the fatty tissue of the body. Okay. Ew. Okay. This gentleman. Okay, this is a heavy smoker. This individual, whoa, heavy smoking, and had a lot of chest pain. And look at that, Mark. Go to the next one.
Yeah, I should mention, with the smoking too, we sometimes have people that have quit smoking, okay, and then it's been a while since they smoked. Then they do ionic detox, and all of a sudden we smell smoke in the detox. So I guess the smokiness is somehow in the held in the cells too over time.
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
And also it could
Okay.
be a lot of cadmium toxicity as well, that which is like, yeah, we can see it.
Okay. Now this is from the previous smoker. He was coughing up mucus, that huge gobs that came out of his lungs just from detoxing. And this is just one, and he had handfuls of it. That just coughing, was gagging, but see, he'd never been able to cough until he started detoxing. And that's what helped him. So, but he just told me, oh, he felt so much better and could take a deep breath when before he couldn't. So he quit smoking totally.
Absolutely. It's better, Dr. Cooper, to be out than in. I think his body started to heal, so it's basically expelling everything out.
Yes. This lady right here, all I had to do, she had a chronic illness over the years. And she just stated that she hadn't felt good over the years, didn't know why. This is what came out of, okay. And this is just like, remember I told you the lady that was in Roosevelt, Utah, that had been around oil wells and that hers looked a lot just like that. And it's like a gooey substance that came out of the body. Okay. Next one. This is a 75-year-old man with infection. Now, usually I find the white, this was white, but notice then it started turning brown. It was white, brown, but what came out of him, I have no idea. But but he felt better. But it took him, he said, I had to detox at least 2 weeks before this started coming on, got less. But then he said, I waited 2 days on the weekend because I told him 5 days on, 2 days off. But he said when he went back to the Monday, this is what he picked up again. So it was still coming out of him. Okay, now, this is the beginning. Remember I told you about the white?
Yes.
This is what was the beginning. This is what it looked like. See, that's infection. I find that. Then it went back to the other one that you just saw. But yes, that whiteness, that's one thing I can state. I had an earache one time, and rather than taking medication, I did the detox, and sure enough, it came white, and I took pictures of it. But that's what I have found that I can really say is an infection. I had one individual tell me, Doc, my was nothing but white in the beginning. I said, well, you have an infection. He said, infection? Doc, I feel wonderful. And he hung up on me. He called me the day and said, Doc, I want to apologize to you. He said, I came down with the sickness, I'm nauseated. I got the sinus headache, but you were right. I had a sickness didn't manifest itself. Next one. Okay, notice the scum. What I was mentioning before, the scum is what is coming out of the body. That's what's being pulled out. And that is a lot of people, if you put the machine in without the feet, you get shiny water. But when you go ahead and put the feet in or the hand, now you get the scum. That's what's coming out of the body. Next one. Oh, this was interesting. This lady, she said, Dr. Cooper, I pulled tapeworms came through my feet. And wow. I looked and I said, these are worms. But I said, no, there's no way you get tapeworms come through the pores of your feet. I said, but what? And I said, do you go around barefooted? And she said, yeah. And do you have a dog? Yes. I take my dog to the park. But what happens? This is, I think, hookworms from dog feces. You can get tapeworms, roundworms, or whipworms because, people don't realize that the dogs, people let their dogs defecate on the grass. It can dry out, or if somebody scoops it, it's still there. People walk barefoot, and now it's attached to their feet, and and it'll embed within the feet. And when the detox came out, it just opened up the feet, the tissues there, and that's what came out. Okay, this is detoxing with the hands. Yeah. You can see exactly what comes out. So you got the scum. Look at the front, and you'll find out that this can really detox, and you're pulling it out through different areas of the body.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one's really interesting. This is a 6-year-old boy with autism. The mother couldn't get him to do a detox, so she got him a cape and she made and got him a blue book and a blue. Everything's blue on there. Got him excited about it. He was a special boy with powers, and now he did his detoxes and he really got excellent results. So parents have to sometimes, for a younger child, come up with another way of doing the detox, a little innovative.
Absolutely. Moms need to think out of the box.
Yeah, this lady right here had female problems for years, and you can see what came out of her. And she didn't feel well immediately, but after about six, she said after about 6 sessions that she noticed that she had a lot of cramping areas all the time, and so she said, "Notice, Doc, I got an improvement. I can just say that it does work." Okay, the next one, this is very interesting. This is a professional guitar player, and he had the blackness of his fingers. Look, the whole hand. Okay, and I had him detox 3 weeks straight, Monday through Friday, taking off Saturday and Sunday, but 3 weeks straight. Go to the next slide. That's him. Did the ring, the same one.
Yeah.
But yes, it does work. What was in him, I have no idea. Okay, now let's see what we got. Now this is on a patient. I want to show people how you can put the infrared belt on. First of all, you go ahead and you put the castor oil pack, put the saran wrap over it, your right angle of the rib there at the next slide. And then you put the belt over that, and that will heat up that liver and open up. And at the same time, when you plug the infrared belt into the machine, you are detoxing mainly that liver. That's what's so great about that.
Absolutely. I think the saran wrap is really necessary because, the castor oil is very sticky. So if you don't do it, then, it can really stain the belt. So that's really good idea.
Yeah, it can. Okay. This is a Scotty dog. I don't know, he weighed about 6-7 pounds, but he was sick. And the mother, she had got her own detox machine, but she said, "What can I do for him?" I said, "Detox him." "You're kidding me." I said, "No." So I told her to go to Amazon. She got a little doggy, put the feet in the harness, and she would put his little feet in there. And she said, "Doc, after 3 days, he was feeling one. This is what he looked like here. Just feeling good."
Nice.
Look at the next one. The next one, this was very interesting. What type of dog that is, I don't know. But the mother, the owner, what she did, she would hold the dog with bend over or on her knees, putting the dog, holding it in there until I told her to get it a dog harness. But this dog had pancreatitis, been under the care from a veterinarian, and they lived up in the mountains in up in Montana. And her vet would drive all the way up there to check on the dog. And so I had her detox her dog 3 times. And she said when the vet came, and they opened up the door, the dog jumped up and ran to her. She could not believe it was the same dog. It was healing, it had more energy, and just through detoxing. And so a lot of people now are detoxing their animals, their dogs, with wonderful success.
Absolutely. We can do it this whole thing for the whole family, our pets, our partners, our kids, it can be like a family.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. And the thing is, of course, if you're going to detox your children, you're not going to use the same settings that you would on an adult. You would want to turn the amperage and voltage down. This is a lady with breast cancer. Terrible. What's the symptoms that she had, but it was ongoing breast cancer. So I told her and it was in the right breast. I told her to use the belt, infrared. But first of all, I said use a castor oil pack and then use the belt on that. And this is just that I just started getting these about 2 weeks ago. Okay, next one. This is the lady, and believe this same woman here. But what I did her feet and her hands, but see the hands were closer to the breast. And I did her a 3-to-1 ratio, once with her feet, and then I did the other 3 times with her hands. So you can see what the scum that was just coming out of her. Looking around, the clumps of it, but this was actually coming out of her body. And she said, I can't believe it. I'm feeling more awake. I feel like I can think better. We're getting toxins out of the body. Okay, next one. This is another lady. This is the same lady after her 8th detox. See, this is what you can see even after 8 times what it still looked like.
Wow.
Okay, we got just a few more and we're finished. Okay, this is a lady, and she said, Dr. Cooper, there's nothing wrong with me. I feel absolutely wonderful. And I said, well, do a detox. She did it. And this one came out of her. I can't believe it. She said, and I feel so much better. Oh, I thought I felt good before, but now I feel wonderful. And so the thing is a lot of people think they feel well, but how do they feel well until they go ahead and get a good detox? And the last one, all right, you can't see it. I couldn't get it in, but this is a new detox machine they had from China. You can see the array is in the water, but right over that little cord facing it on the right hand side, there is a piece. There's equipment. It's probably 5 by 5, 3 inches tall. That's the new machine, and you can see the color. They'll never get past that color because they don't have the energy, don't have the power to pull toxins out of the body. All we're doing is just making. And my biggest share of your color you got there is not from the body; it's just from the water itself.
Absolutely.
So,
thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Cooper, for these amazing pictures. And one thing actually you mentioned is really interesting that I really like you to expand a little bit about it, is about different amperage and voltage that we choose based on, the age of the person, if they're too sensitive. Like, can you explain a little bit? Because, the machine is really intelligent. At the back, there's this knob. So we can basically change the voltage, put it at the lower voltage, and also add less salt to the water to, to have basically less strong power. So can you explain a little bit if somebody especially want to detox the children or somebody who is a little bit ill or very sensitive, that what is the protocol?
Well, the thing is you want to remember, I don't detox children under 4 age, maybe 4, but then I change the time, and I take the voltage and amperage really low. But on the average, if you're going to do your children, if you got children that's 15, 16, that's pretty much close to the adult.
Yes.
But the thing is primarily just use wisdom. And I would invite them to talk to you, doctor, because you will, and you and I'll get together and I'll give you information on that. But you will be able to help them more than anything else, so the whole family can use it. I got families now. They got 4, 5, and 6 people in the family. They're using it. They're inviting their neighbors over to use it because it really works. Everybody's simple. Let me suggest also that have everybody take their phones, take a picture of it. And I like to tell them, and you can really see how rotten you are.
Exactly. We can have detox parties of the neighborhood. Yeah, absolutely.
The thing is for children, here's one safe area. For your younger 7 or 8 years old, go down to 17 voltage and go down to 1.7 amperage. Absolutely. And then do that for a half an hour. And then watch their symptoms. If they kind of get real tired, then instead doing it every day, but I would suggest starting out for them just twice a week, that you're on the safe side, and give them a body a chance to heal.
Absolutely. And one thing, Mark, I should again give the credit to the devices that I really like that we can see the amperage and voltage on the device and on the array as well. So we really can keep an eye to see that how much salt we can add, and it's really, really easy to use it. It just compared to some other, like bioenergetic devices and different things that you have to really learn and, be tech savvy. But, with this device is super easy to use. We just basically switch it on and it goes. Okay, perfect.
Well,
so,
Dr. Nira, if I might mention one more thing. You're going to find a difference in the reading on the machine than the array due to the length of wire has to travel through. Your machine is usually the array is usually 10 points lower than the machine. So if you really want to judge use the machine. That'll be the best thing. Then you can get the proper readings.
Thank you. And Dr. Cooper, can you also just expand which type of salt you recommend people to use?
I suggest Himalayan salt, or you can get Celtic salt, sea salt,
Yep.
as long as it has minerals on it. Don't use table salt because that has a caking agent in it.
Exactly.
And at least here in the United States it does.
Exactly. And which type
But
of water
Himalayan
do you
salt,
recommend?
we like.
And when it comes to water, just the tap water?
Good tap water. We find out that a lot of people use some people want to use RO, reverse it. That takes the minerals out. But a lot of people, they can go ahead and add minerals to that water to make it work better. Do not use soft water because that has a lot of sodium from salt. You won't get you will not get good results. But many times we find just the good old tap water. Your machine is made that it will handle that, and you'll have very successful.
Exactly.
But doctor, you're welcome to contact me anytime, and until because I know your biggest problem, you're going to be so busy.
Yes.
Because it works. People are going to get better health than they've had in a long time. And I testify being going to 84 years old.
Absolutely. So, Dr. Cooper, can you share just that story that you shared with me before about when you went for your checkup and, the doctor was asking about, is the test results actually yours? So I think that's very inspiring because especially for men, our men audience, I think it's a beautiful, inspiring story.
Well, I had two stories. Number one, when I was 77 years old, Medicare asked me to have a scan of my carotid artery, and that's up to the neck here, because under men, under that age, you get heavy plaques and could become very serious health problems. So he went ahead and sent me over to the hospital. It's a medical friend of mine. I went to the hospital. The CAT scan. They called him back, and they said we have a discrepancy. And they said, "What's the discrepancy?" Well, how old is this guy? He said 77. He said, "Are you sure?" He said, "I'm positive." He said, "Well, you tell this guy whatever he's doing to do it, continue, because he's got a carotid artery, 45-year-old guy, hardly nothing." And I've been detoxing for 7 years. Wow. And then a year and a half ago, it was in Utah here. It was snow. I slipped, fell. I didn't know if I had a hairline fracture in the pelvis. So I went to the hospital and I took an A to P and lateral film. And the doctor said, "No, I don't see anything. I think it's just a bad bruise." She said, "But doctor, I can't understand. You around the femur head and the femur head of the hip, you have no calcium deposits, and the issue of tuberosities, where they're heavy calcification for men your age, there's nothing. What do you do?" And I told her, well, I said, I have a machine for detoxing, and she said, "Well, whatever you're doing, okay, go ahead and do it." Didn't understand at all what was doing, but it works.
Absolutely.
And, all I can say, honestly, right now, sitting here, on a scale to 1 to 10, 10 being good, I can honestly say, give me a 9, a 9.5. I don't have an ache in my body.
Perfect. And the mental clarity you have is amazing. Like, I want to have your mental clarity when I'm your age. For sure.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So just one other question before, we basically go to the final part. Is there anything like the biggest myth that you hear about detoxing? And what have you heard from your clients and based on your experience?
Well, I tell you, the biggest thing that I hear from people I talk to, and that is they say, is this a scam? Mm-hmm. And what about the colors? And I explain the colors. And if you explain it to people as I have explained it, they will be convinced. But not only that, I've had people say, "Well, I got a machine, it doesn't work. My friend told me it doesn't work, so I'm going to turn it in." And I'll talk to them, and I'll explain to them, educate them. Then I'll say, "No, just do one detox." They didn't want to do one. And all of a sudden, they call me back, "Dr. Cooper, this is fantastic. I can't believe how I feel." And so people are going to say, I don't know, for instance, a nurse called me. Her husband was a doctor. And we were going to get a unit for them. And she said, "I'm going to turn my machine back in." And I said, "Why?" And I explained to her how it works. She said, "Well, I've got a good authority that this doesn't work." And I said, Did you try it? No, but this person told me, so they never got the machine. What a shame. Because if she really wouldn't listen to even the information that was there, but if people will just take this information, listen to what we've said, Mark and I have talked about, and then try it, you'll be surprised you'll have some life changes in your body. And you know what? Like I said, it's not a cure-all. What it's doing is taking the toxins out of your body. The body is healing itself. And all I can say is that we need to, like for instance, I said to you, doctor, we need to detox the world 2 feet at a time. Let's start with yours.
Absolutely. 2 hands
And
at a
I'm
time,
starting
2
with
feet at a
mine.
time. Exactly. So, Mark, I'd like to ask you, do you have any final thoughts, tips, or insight that you'd like to share, with the community? And also, we also lots of practitioners and doctors that, they're going to watch this masterclass as well.
Yes, sure. We talk to customers every day on the phone, and we hear what they say, and it's very exciting. The amazing things that happen when you start taking toxins out of the body. Some things are very surprising, and we don't know if it's going to take 1 day before you notice differences, 1 week, 1 month, or 3 months. But you will notice something when you start removing that toxic load. I I think of a gentleman who was getting a detox for sleep issues. Okay, and in 1 day, I mean, it doesn't take usually. This doesn't happen this fast usually, but in 1 day, his sleep trouble kind of went away, and it didn't come back. But that's not all. He actually had 6 other issues that he wasn't trying to fix that also were fixed by detoxing for 1 week. His energy improved, his digestion improved. He felt really cleaned out. His knee pain went away, his rotator cuff pain went away, his skin got softer, and his body temperature regulation normalized too. He always felt cold before, now he didn't. So that's just one example. I I know there was another lady that another story I'm fond of. This lady could barely walk because she'd been eating junk food over the years, and she had a toxic liver. She had pain in her knees so bad she could barely walk. And in this case, again, this doesn't always happen, but for her, the next day after detoxing, she was able to walk just fine and even work in her garden. And as she continued detoxing over the rest of the year, it helped her tremendously with joint pain, and even she had a burning pain from uric acid crystals in her hands. That also was resolved. So, again, it's more than exercise and diet. It's also about taking bad things out of the body. And the longer it's been in there, probably the longer it'll take to get it out.
Absolutely, I do agree. And
Yeah.
one thing I really like about, the Ionic Detox is that it's so easy to use compared to like infrared sauna. I've been using infrared sauna for years and I absolutely love it. And I think it's another great detox modalities, but it takes time. I need to go have a shower. It's just like, it's a little bit inconvenient sometimes, but I can just sit down and talk to you guys and have my feet on the bath and the foot bath. And then, just go wash off my feet and I'm done with the day. Plus, it's also the cost, for some people, we know that the infrared saunas can be really expensive. Not everybody can afford it. It's not portable, your devices, it comes with an amazing carry case that, we actually have some doctors that they're taking it, with themselves, to other countries. So I really like that the practicality of the Ionic Foot bath, the price point is a good thing. We can use it for children as well, like especially, where this part of the world it's already hot. So lots of people, they say, wow, I cannot be in an infrared sauna. It's too hot for me. But, when it comes to an Ionic Detox, we can just put our feet in it. And so I just think that, it's an absolute amazing investment for the whole family to invest in something like this. And thank you so much, Mark, for basically coming up with this amazing device. And yes, Dr. Cooper, I'd definitely like to ask you for your final thoughts, please.
Yeah, doctor, I heard Mark talk about, I'll tell you a situation on gout. I have never had a patient that I could not cure the gout.
Wow.
I had one individual, when my wife and I first moved into our new home, instead of the neighbors visit, we went around to visit all the neighbors. The last people that we visited the door, her name was Mary, and his was named Bob. But Bob was in a wheelchair, and he was without socks. That tells me gout. And I said, you got a case? He said, yeah, I got a bad case of gout. He said, I'm on a wheelchair, but eventually it'll get better. I'll be able to walk again. I said, well, I'm a doctor of chiropractic. I think I'll help you. And he snarled. He says, what are you going to do, adjust me? I said, no, I have a machine that I think can help you. So I got the machine, took it back to him, gave him instructions. We had to go, didn't know we went to the same church. We just moved in there. But what occurred, I had him detox daily, Monday through Friday. And that following Sunday, and that was on a Monday, on following Sunday, so a whole week, he came in with a walker. The following week, with a cane, the following third week with nothing. And he said, Doc, that is amazing. I can't believe, but I've never seen anything so marvelous, so fast. But he said, I feel fantastic. And he got a machine. He's detoxing daily.
That's amazing. Thank you
So
so much.
It works.
Absolutely. I think giving the body the right chance, the body knows how to heal itself. That's really the moral of the story today. Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Cooper and Mark, for
and to our friends in the Middle East. Are you ready for pain relief? Are you ready for more energy? Are you ready for better sleep? Are you ready for better circulation? Try out the Ion D, and happy detoxing.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mark, so much for your time. And Dr. Cooper, thank you so much for your generosity, for sharing your experience of these amazing stories. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you very much. Blessings to everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.